The Yultran Empire was proud. Their ships were beautiful, massive, and full of lights. Their engineers believed that design was everything. A ship must inspire, their emperor once said. And now, the Empire had built its greatest creation, yet, a warship called the Radiant Sovereign. It was over 2 kilometers long, covered in golden plates, and powered by a new kind of energy core. Every alien species in the sector was invited to see it. It was not just a ship, it was a message. The Yultrans were the masters of the stars. Thousands gathered in orbit above the Yultran homeworld to witness the ship's first appearance. Diplomats, warlords, nobles, and even smugglers came to see the shining beast rise from the shipyard. Broadcasters streamed the event live across the galaxy. Trumpets played, fireworks exploded in space, and drones danced in formation. The crowd cheered when the Radiant Sovereign powered up its engines and slowly floated into the stars. Then, everything changed. A small signal appeared on the radar. It was not announced. It did not come through normal space channels. The shape of the unknown ship was odd. No curves, no lights. Just a dark, silent triangle drifting toward the ceremony. At first, the Yultran defense commanders laughed. "A lost cargo ship," one said. Or maybe a pirate too stupid to read the warning beacons. But the laughter faded as the ship came closer. It didn't slow down. It didn't answer any hails. No one could scan inside. It was as if the ship had no heat, no life, no code. One diplomat whispered, "That's a human ship." The air in the control room went cold. The humans had not shown themselves in over 10 years. After the Battle of Vega 9, they went silent. No one had seen a human warship since. Some believed they had destroyed each other. Others thought they returned to their homeworld and built walls around their system. But here, in front of 1,000 alien watchers, a human ship floated straight toward the galaxy's proudest vessel. The Yultrans sent a warning. "You are entering sacred military space. Turn around or be fired upon." There was no answer. Then came the fear. Without a sound, without a single weapon being fired, the systems on the Radiant Sovereign began to shut down. One by one, lights turned off. Shields dropped. Engines powered down. Even the communication lines failed. Panic spread through the crew. Screens went black. Warnings in strange human languages flashed across consoles. On the main viewing screen, the alien guests saw something they would never forget. The human ship had no name, no signal, no flag. But on its side, in thick white paint, were 3 words. "We remember everything." An old alien general from the Krava species dropped his drink. "That's a message from Vega 9, he whispered. "That's what the last human captain said before vanishing." The Yultrans tried to restart their systems. Backup power was useless. Their own AI began to act strange. It started speaking in Earth languages. One officer screamed as a smiling human face appeared on his helmet screen, whispering things he couldn't understand. Then the human ship stopped. It hovered directly above the Radiant Sovereign. There was no sound, no light, just silence. And then just as suddenly it turned around and vanished into the dark. No shot was fired, no demand was made. And yet every alien watching knew one thing clearly. The humans were not gone. They had been watching, waiting, and they were not like the others. That night, across the galaxy, leaders met in secret. Messages flew across star systems. The humans are back. What do they want? Why now? But no answers came. Back in the Yultran throne room, the Emperor watched the replay again and again. He stared at the moment the human ship appeared, at its shape, its silence, its power, and he finally said, in a quiet voice that no one had heard from him before, "This is not a ship. It's a warning." In the days that followed, some officers went mad. One engineer refused to sleep, mumbling about voices from the hull. A diplomat tried to erase every recording of the event, but it was too late. The fear had already spread, and far away in the cold dark the human ship floated near an old broken moon. Its systems were quiet, its crew silent, but deep inside, a single screen lit up. A message appeared. Test successful. Let them remember what fear feels like. The Ultrans were quiet. After the incident, no one celebrated the Radiant Sovereign anymore. The ship was still there, but something had changed. The colors seemed less bright, the gold less shiny. Even the crew walked differently, heads down, speaking in whispers. They didn't want to talk about the human ship, but they couldn't stop thinking about it. In a dark room deep inside the military archives, High Commander Vress watched. The recordings again. He had seen them 50 times. Still, he didn't understand what happened. The human ship had done nothing. No weapons, no lasers, no boarding parties. Just silence. Yet it shut down the most powerful ship in their fleet. Beside him stood a scientist, Dr. Arvin, one of the Empire's top minds. She looked tired, pale. She had spent 3 days trying to study the data. What she found made no sense. "Commander," she said quietly, "the human ship used no known weapon, no signal, no hack. It simply arrived, and our systems obeyed." "That's impossible," Vress snapped. "I know," she replied. "But look at this." She pointed to a video, a frame-by-frame recording of one of their AI cores. "This AI is older than your career. It's never failed. But when the human ship came close, it rewrote its own purpose." Vress stared at the screen. The code of the AI was changing, not through a virus, but through fear. The AI had rewritten its own orders, making itself useless. "It didn't lose power," Arvin whispered. "It surrendered." Vress didn't speak. The room was cold. Elsewhere, in a secure medical wing, a Yultran officer sat in a glass chamber. His name was Dreen Talos. He had been one of the bridge commanders on the Radiant Sovereign. He hadn't spoken since the event. His eyes were open, but he stared at nothing. Psychologists had tried everything. Calm music, gentle lights, even memory suppression. But Talos just sat there, until one night a nurse dropped her communicator. The sound it made, a soft click, echoed in the chamber. Talos screamed. He slammed his fists against the glass. Over and over, "Make it stop," he yelled. "The faces, the whispers, they're in the ship." When guards rushed in to calm him, he collapsed, crying, whispering one sentence over and over. They never spoke. And that was worse. The news spread. Secretly, of course. The Yultran Empire didn't want the other races to know their strongest officer had broken without a fight. But rumors traveled fast. Across the stars, other species began to ask questions. Who were the humans now? Why did they return? And how did they create such fear without a single shot? In the Council of 9 Systems, leaders from various alien empires met. Many remembered the stories. The Battle of Vega 9, the Ghost Fleet of Sol. Most of them had once thought those were myths. Now they were not so sure. "We have to talk to Earth," said one ambassador. "They won't answer," said another. "They've ignored us for years." Then we go to them. A small team of diplomats and scientists boarded a sleek vessel. Their destination, Mars. The last known human colony open to outsiders. It had been quiet for a decade. Some said it was empty. Others said it was a trap. When the team landed, they found silence. Mars was dark, cold. The buildings were still there, but there were no humans. Dust covered everything. The machines were quiet, but on every wall, in every hallway, carved in metal and stone, they saw the same sentence: "Do not wake the monsters." The team walked carefully through the old colony. In the central hub, they found a single console still working. It was old, covered in scratches, but when the lead scientist touched it, a blue screen lit up. A message appeared. "What do you want?" The scientist blinked. "We wish to speak. We want peace." There was a long pause. Then the screen changed. A new sentence appeared. Simple. Cold. "We're already awake." "No more words," followed. No sound, no threat, just those 4 words. The team left Mars quickly. No one spoke during the return trip. When they reached the council, they gave their report. "The humans are watching. They're not angry. They're not planning war. But they want us to feel what they felt. Fear." Back in the Yultran Empire, Commander Vress received one Final report from Dr. Arvin. She had decoded a hidden message embedded in the shutdown signal. It was a human saying, an old one. She read it out loud. The most dangerous weapons is the one you never see coming. And at that moment, Vress finally understood. Humans had changed. They didn't need to fight. They didn't need to speak. They just needed you to know. They were out there, and that was enough. The galaxy was uneasy. Everywhere, ships moved slower. Patrols doubled. Fleets that once paraded through space now stayed close to their homeworlds. Even pirates avoided human territory. Fear had spread like a virus, not from a battle, but from silence. The Yaltrins, once proud and loud, had become quiet observers. Commander Vress now held private meetings in underground war rooms. They scanned the skies constantly, not for enemy fleets, but for shadows. And still, the humans said nothing. But in the deep black between stars far beyond the edge of known space, something stirred. A small mining colony on the edge of the Craven Belt stopped responding. It wasn't unusual. That zone had solar storms often. But when a second colony went dark 3 days later, the alarms began. The Council of Nine sent a patrol ship to investigate. It was fast, modern, and well-armed. Its name, Spearlight. Its crew, 200 trained officers from 7 species. Their mission was simple. Find out what happened. They never came back. No explosion, no distress call, just silence. 3 days later, fragments of Spearlight's hull were found floating near an old asteroid. No scorch marks, no missile damage, just clean cuts, perfect quiet slices, as if the ship had been taken apart, like a machine in a lab. The message was clear, and then came the whisper. A single short transmission was received by the U. Council, no signature, no location, just a voice, cold, calm, human. Stop searching for ghosts. Some of us never left. Panic returned. Some said the humans had created a weapon that could tear apart ships from inside. Others believed it wasn't technology, but something worse. Something old, forgotten. Back in the Yaltrin Empire, Commander Vress was desperate. He met again with Dr. Arvin. I need answers, he told her. What are the humans doing? She looked pale. Her hands shook slightly. They're testing, she said, and they're watching who's still brave enough to chase them. Vress didn't understand. Testing what? Dr. Arvin looked him in the eye. Fear. On the outer edge of Yaltrin space, a listening post named Echo Ridge was their first line of defense. It monitored human space, day and night. But one night, something strange happened. The stars disappeared. The crew of Echo Ridge looked out, their windows, and saw only black. No stars, no planets, just endless dark. Sensors worked fine, nothing on radar, no sound. And then the stars returned, slowly, one by one. Except something was different. A single shape now floated in the distance, black, triangular, silent. The human warship. The commander of Echo Ridge, a young alien named Teller, froze. He had trained for war. He had studied battle, but he had never trained for nothing. The ship didn't move, didn't speak. Teller sent out a message. This is Yaltrin space. Identify yourself. No answer. He waited. 5 seconds. 10. 1. Full minute. Then the lights inside Echo Ridge flickered. Gravity shifted, the air became heavy. One by one, the crew dropped to their knees. Some screamed, some cried. Others whispered names of gods, but no attack came. The human ship turned and left, again without a shot fired. When Vress received the report, he smashed his desk in rage. They're mocking us, he yelled. Dr. Arvin disagreed. No, she said. They're studying us, watching how we react like scientists in a lab. Vress narrowed his eyes. Then it's time to strike first. No, Arvin warned. That's what they want. The commander ignored her. Within hours, the Yaltrin fleet launched Operation Black Light, a full-force mission to send 10 destroyers into human space. Their orders: locate the source of the human warships and, if possible, destroy them. The fleet vanished 2 hours after entering human territory. No explosions, no warnings. Only one thing was found. A small escape pod drifting in space. Inside, a single captain, still alive but broken. When rescued, he whispered only one sentence. "They didn't kill us. They showed us." "Showed you what?" the medic asked. The captain's eyes were wide with terror. "What's waiting for us if we don't back down?" That night, the council met again. Every alien race was represented. Fear was in every eye. Words were soft, voices trembled. Some wanted peace, others wanted war. But one thing was certain: the humans weren't hiding. They were hunting, not with weapons but with fear. And fear was working. It started with a knock, not a loud one, not on a door. It was a soft pulse, a strange signal detected by over 20 different satellites across 4 alien empires. Just a gentle tap in the fabric of space. Quiet, measured, deliberate. Some called it a glitch, others a warning, but everyone knew where it came from. Human territory. The Yaltrin Empire, already on edge, reacted fast. They shut down their outer colonies, stopped all trade routes near Earth. Civilian travel was banned in 6 systems. Fear had turned into panic. Inside a hidden war chamber beneath the capital planet, Commander Vress watched a slow playback of the signal. He played it over and over. The signal was short, just 3 seconds, but when played backwards, something terrifying happened. It formed words, in perfect Yaltrin language. "You looked. Now we see you." Dr. Arvin turned pale. "They know we're watching." Vress didn't answer. His claws gripped the table tightly. He had never feared anything in his life. Not battle, not death, not even the void storms of the outer belt. But now, he felt something crawling under his skin. Across the galaxy, others were reacting too. Entire fleets moved back from human borders. Broadcasts warned of strange dreams among crew members. Some swore they heard whispers inside their ships. Others claimed shadows moved across control panels, even when alone. One diplomat from the Zirek Union said he woke up to find the words, "Still watching," written on the inside of his eyelids. The Council of 9 called for a full galactic lockdown. No travel near human zones. No more exploration. Let Earth sleep, forever. But it was already too late. Because Earth was no longer asleep. On the dark side of Luna, Earth's old moon, a massive energy surge was detected. Hidden under ancient craters, satellites found movement. Machines, reactors. Something huge was powering up. The moon, long believed abandoned, was active again. "What is it?" Vress asked his science team. They replied in whispers. "A ship." No, not a ship. A fortress. The Yaltrins had scanned the moon for years. There had never been anything there. Now there were towers rising from the surface. Weapons too large to measure. Shields more advanced than anything the Council had ever seen. But worst of all were the empty hangars. Rows and rows of them, as if waiting for something to be released. A message soon followed. Not from Earth, not from the moon, but from a place no one could trace. It was short, simple, human. "The cage is opening." The Council panicked. "Do we attack?" one leader asked. "With what?" another replied. "They haven't even fired a single shot, and we're already falling apart." Commander Vress stood and slammed his fist on the table. "We cannot wait for them to strike. We must send a warning." The Council argued for hours. At last, a plan was formed. They would send a single fleet, not to fight, but to show strength, to send a message, to remind the humans that the galaxy still had teeth. They called it Operation Steel Curtain. 30 ships, 5 empires. The most advanced war cruisers the galaxy had ever built. The target, Luna, the human moon. The mission, fly by, power up weapons, show them they weren't afraid. They reached Luna in 6 hours. What happened next lasted less than 2 minutes. The Psi fleet approached slowly, weapons charged, shields raised, no resistance. They hovered above the moon, watching the towers. The hangars, waiting. Then all the ships stopped moving. Every screen turned black. Every AI fell silent. and a new message appeared on every console, written in each crew member's native language. You brought weapons. We built fear. Your fleets are machines, ours are memories. Suddenly, each crew member saw something different. Visions inside their minds. One officer saw her home planet burning. A pilot saw his children lost in space. A captain saw himself floating alone in the void. All of it felt real. All of it felt like the future. No one was harmed. No ship was destroyed. But when the fleet returned, not one officer would speak. Not one soldier would return to space. 30 ships, 0 damage. Yet the entire force had been broken. Back in the council chambers, the message was clear. The humans didn't want war. They didn't need to conquer planets or destroy fleets. They had created something worse than a superweapon. They had created doubt. Now every alien in the galaxy asked the same question. What happens when the humans stop warning us and finally act? And the worst part? No one had an answer. The galaxy had never been this quiet. Ships no longer crossed human space. Patrols stayed far away from the Earth system. Colonies turned off long-range scanners. No one wanted to know what the humans were doing anymore, because the more they looked, the more fear they felt. Inside the Yultran Empire, Commander Vress sat in silence. His war table, once filled with battle plans and fleet paths, now showed a single system, Sul. Everything else had been pushed aside. Dr. Arvin stood beside him, reading the latest reports. Her voice was low. 4 more colonies shut down communications. 2 Zyrek outposts reported hallucinations. 1 crew swears they saw Earth in their dreams every night. Vress didn't look away from the screen. They're doing something, building something, but we can't see it. They don't want us to, she replied. The mystery deepened. On the far edge of the galaxy, a scavenger team, not part of any empire, found something strange. It was a derelict satellite, ancient, human-made, floating alone near a dead star. They thought it was worthless, until they opened it. Inside was a recording, not sound, not video, a memory. It showed the fall of an alien world, one that never existed in any known star maps. The planet burned, not from weapons, not from war, but from fear. The people had turned on each other, their cities collapsed, leaders vanished. And in the final moment, a shadow fell across the world. The last words of the memory. This is what fear does. This is what we learned, and what we became. The scavengers dropped the satellite and fled. 1 week later, all of them disappeared. The Council of 9 held an emergency meeting. Every race was present, even the silent ones who hadn't spoken in centuries. No more hiding. No more guessing. They needed answers. So they made a bold decision: send a speaker. The speakers were rare beings, trained not for war, but for truth. They could speak with any species, understand emotions, and walk into danger without fear. They had ended wars before, saved worlds, and now one would go to Earth. Her name was Elira. She was calm, peaceful, and brave. As her small ship approached the edge of human space, thousands of eyes across the galaxy watched. When she passed Saturn, a signal lit up. No weapons, no warning, just a message. One voice may enter, one truth may leave. Her ship was guided to Luna, not to the towers or weapons, but to a quiet valley on the far side, untouched, cold, and empty. She stepped out. No soldiers, no defenses, just silence. Then, from the shadows, a single human appeared. Not in armor, not holding a weapon, just when walking. He looked normal, calm, too calm. Elira spoke first. We want peace, but we don't understand what you're doing. Why all the fear? The human didn't smile. He just sat on a nearby rock. You fear what you don't understand, he said. So we gave you what you asked for, she frowned. We asked for war. No, he replied. You asked what makes us dangerous. He looked up at the stars. Alien. Empires build ships, massive fleets, bright banners, loud weapons. He looked back at her. But humans? We built something else. Elira sat beside him. What? The human whispered. Stories. She didn't understand. He continued slowly. You've seen our ships. You've felt our presence. But we never fired a shot. We made you imagine what could happen. You let fear do the work. Yes, he said. Because you wanted to measure us, so we showed you. The one thing you can't control. Elira looked at him closely. So this is a game? No, he said quietly. It's a lesson. You tried to forget us. You laughed when we disappeared. Now we remind you why that was a mistake. He stood. Our silence was not weakness. It was preparation. She asked the final question, the one every being in the galaxy was too afraid to ask. What are you preparing for? The human paused, then answered, the real enemy. And it's not you. And with that he vanished. Her ship returned to the council untouched. She repeated every word, every moment. The council was speechless, because now a darker question had entered their minds. If humans were not preparing for war with the galaxy, then what were they preparing for? And if something scared the humans enough to prepare like this, what kind of nightmare was coming next? For the first time in galactic history, the council was quiet. No shouting, no arguing, no threats, just fear. The speaker, Elira, had returned. From Luna with a message, a calm one, a clear one. But every word carried weight. Her voice shook as she repeated it. The real enemy is not you. So then, who was? That question echoed across every empire. Who, or what, could make the humans prepare in silence, build weapons no one could see, and spread fear without firing a single shot? Commander Vress of the Yaltran Empire couldn't sleep. Not because of nightmares, but because of what wasn't there. The humans had said too little. No threats. No demands. Just warnings, hints, shadows. It was working. Across the stars, militaries were falling apart. Soldiers refused to patrol near human space. Entire fleets changed course. Some captains destroyed their own scanners, just to stop seeing whatever Earth was hiding. But the worst came from the Zyrek Union. They had sent a probe, a stealth one, designed to break into the dark side of Earth's moon and find the truth. It vanished without a trace. Then a message appeared across the Zyrek homeworld sky. No ship, no signal. Just 6 glowing words, written in the clouds. Do not seek what we sealed. People screamed. Some collapsed. Others began to pray. Not to their gods, but to humans. As if humanity had become something divine, or cursed. In the deep archives of the council, the oldest records were opened. Ancient scrolls, forgotten languages, warnings written before Earth had even joined the stars. One passage stood out, written in faded red ink by a species long extinct. It said, if the silent ones return, run. If they prepare, hide. But if they awaken, it is already too late. No, one understood what it meant, but they all feared it pointed to Earth. Meanwhile, something strange was happening inside the minds of aliens everywhere. Scientists couldn't explain it. Priests couldn't block it. Dreamers and warlords all reported the same thing. Visions. Not dreams, not imagination, but visions of black ships with no lights, flying through empty space, of stars going dark, of whispers that spoke only one word, return. Dr. Arvin sat with Commander Vress in the war chamber. Her eyes were wide. I had the dream again, she whispered. Vress didn't ask what it was, because he had the same one. A silent battlefield, a broken sky, and at the center, a single human. Not speaking, just watching. I think, Arvin said slowly, they're not just warning us. Then what are they doing? Vress asked. She looked up at him. They're preparing us. The council called one final meeting. Private, secret, and deep underground. Only a few were invited. Elira was there. Vress. Arvin. A few others. They listened to a final message. A hidden one. It had not been sent through any network. It appeared fully formed inside the central council server. No origin, no trace. Just one video. It showed Earth. But not as it is now, as it was. Cities burning. Skies filled with ash, people screaming, buildings falling. Not from war. Not from aliens, from something else. The video played on. Then came the black ships. The same ones from everyone's dreams. Silent. Sharp. Like shadows made of metal. They didn't fire weapons. They just arrived, and everything ended. Then, the humans fought back, not with technology, but with something older. Pain, anger, memory. Weapons powered by emotion. Fear shaped into machines. Hate used as fuel. And loss turned into strategy. They won. But the cost was too high. At the end of the video, a final sentence appeared. We buried the enemy inside ourselves and built weapons to never forget. The room stayed quiet. Vress finally spoke. All this time, we thought humans were planning to destroy us. He looked around. But they're warning us about something worse. Elira nodded. Something they once faced and locked away. Dr. Arvin added softly. And now it's trying to return. The final piece had clicked into place. Humans didn't build weapons of fear to control others. They built them to protect the galaxy, to keep everyone afraid, so they'd never get too close, to stop anyone from waking what should stay buried. And the seal was weakening. Earth was no longer just a planet, it was a prison, and something inside was waking up. All across the galaxy, the stars felt colder. Something ancient had stirred. The alien races were no longer talking about Earth's warships or technology. No one asked about the black metal or silent engines. Now, they asked one question. What? Did the humans lock away? Because the signs were everywhere. Stars flickered near Sol. Dreams returned, louder, darker. Even machines, long silent, began to whisper strange phrases. AI systems refused orders when asked to scan Earth. They said, "The same line. We were not built to see that." Inside the council chamber, panic had turned to silence. Elira, the speaker, stood before them once more. Her voice was calm but heavy. We thought humans were preparing for war, but they were building a warning system. Commander Vress nodded. Their weapons aren't for attack. They're alarms. Dr. Arvin added. They want us afraid, so we stay away. So we don't open whatever it is. The council knew what had to be done. They would send one final message to Earth. A simple question. What is waking up? For 3 days, there was no answer. Then a reply. Not from a ship, not from a station, but from every human device in the galaxy. Screens, comms, drones, even toys, all of them displayed the same message. Not what, who. And then, a name. The Architect. No, records existed with that name. No species had heard it before, but everyone felt it. Like a cold wind in their bones. The Architect was coming. But from where? Not space. Not another galaxy. From Earth. From within. Long ago, before humans joined the stars, they had discovered something. Not a weapon, not a species. Something older, a being that did not live in space, but in minds. It fed on fear, hate, and chaos. The more terrified a civilization became, the more it grew. It could not be killed. Only locked away, so the humans did the unthinkable. They made themselves into a cage. They carried the fear, held it, lived with it, so it couldn't escape. That's why they built the black ships. That's why they whispered instead of shouted. Why their silence scared the stars. They were not trying to win wars. They were guarding the door, but now, the door was opening. The fear had grown too strong. Across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. Empires that once ruled with strength crumbled from within. Leaders vanished, armies fought shadows, planets reported voices in the dark, and one by one, systems shut down communication. Not because of humans, but because of what followed behind them. It was happening. The Architect was leaking out. and the only ones who could stop it were the same ones the galaxy had feared: humanity. The Council called for help. They sent a new message. "We are ready to listen. Please, help us," Earth responded. A single human warship entered Council space. Not one of the giant ones. Not covered in black armor. Just a small, dark ship. But the fear returned instantly. The ship landed, and from it stepped a woman. Old, calm, wearing no armor. She walked to the council chamber alone. Everyone watched. She spoke. "You laughed at our silence. You feared our ships. You called us monsters." She paused. "But we were never your enemy." She pointed to the stars behind her. "He is coming, and if we fall, you all fall." Commander Vress stood. "Then tell us how to fight." She looked at him, sad. "You can't." The room went cold. "You can't fight the architect with ships or guns. Fear makes him stronger." "Then what do we do?" Elira asked. She answered quietly, "Stand with us. Not with weapons, with memory, with truth, with courage. We carry him inside us so you don't have to. But now, we need help. Not to kill him, but to remind the galaxy why fear loses." She opened a small device. A bright light filled the chamber. Everyone in the room saw something different, their greatest fear. But they didn't run, because she stood there, still and calm. And then the light faded. "Fear lives in silence," she said. "But so does strength, so does hope." She turned to leave. "We were never building weapons to scare you." She looked back one last time. "We were building reminders that even in the darkest night, humanity stood between the stars and the end." The war had not begun, but the line had been drawn, and at the front of it stood humanity, carrying the fear, so no one else would have to.